as a board, I really think as a board, we need to discuss what some of the uses for that into the future could be, because there have been comments in prior years at commission level about the library fund balance getting to be, in their opinion, excessive. And, the municipality fund balance runs about 12% of the budget. Well, this is significantly more than 12% of our budget. So I just think that's something we maybe need to look at over this going into the next budget year.
Okay.
I'm finding the fact that we're continuing surpluses year after year after year and raising that to be, no, that's not a bad thing. There's nothing wrong with a surplus.
Yes. Right.
But it gets to a point of being
It really started during COVID.
Yeah.
I mean, we were pretty much balanced before that. But ever since the constant staff turnover, it makes it hard to spend the appropriation. And then my understanding was that, that money no longer, they used to pass it back and forth to us. So like they would give us the money, then they would bill us for the employees. We would send them a check. Now he just takes it
right
off the top and balances it out at the end. So I don't know that we actually, that's considered to be our fund balance, or if it just goes back into the municipal pot.
No, it doesn't go back into the municipal pot. That's the point.
Yeah, it's yours.
You're the only,
Yours.
in effect, department, to not use the word literally, within the municipal budget that it doesn't go into the general fund. Recreation, if the golf course makes money, it doesn't stay with the golf course. It goes back into general operations. And the library is the only thing I can think of that is not the case, which is why I think we need to do maybe some strategic planning when it comes to this over the next few months to say we have a plan and here it is.
Yeah.
Yes, we have X amount of money, but let's be proactive rather than defensive.
Marsha, the fact that that's our money and doesn't go anywhere else, is that like on the book somewhere, or is that just an unwritten rule that we follow?
No, you're your own
No,
entity.
it's a difference. It's a difference in the fact that the library is a quasi entity under the library codes, and has its own set of books, which is unlike any other municipal facility, arena, whatever.
Yes. It's a little bit akin to the medical rescue team south. They're their own entity, you're your own entity, but different.
But different, yeah.
So what percentage of that do you recommend planning to spend?
I don't have a specific number. I mean, normally in the municipal world, fund balances are recommended to be 5 to 15% of the operating budget. And this is well in excess of 15% of the operating, even if you took the high end.
I was going to talk to Andrew about the possibility of an additional part-time librarian this year. Would that be something that
The problem with that is, though, we could use fund balance to say we have money, we could pay for it, but then the following year, we don't have money to pay for it and it continues in the budget. It's better to have this type of money be used for one-timers, for things that aren't continuing, that don't have to be supported in future years. Equipment improvements, something the library needs that's
Bathroom renovation.
Bathroom renovation.
Bathroom
Yeah,
renovation,
absolutely.
something, I don't have a specific amount, but
that we needed?
I think we could easily bring it back down to 2 to 250 and have plenty of money. That personal opinion.
So what would be the best way to assemble a potential wish list of things we could look at?
What's the fund balance, 330?
379?
Oh. You want to bring it
No,
down?
330.
And you want to bring it down to 250?
2 to 250.
You redid the bathrooms, there goes your fund balance. I mean, that would take 70,000 easily.
Yeah.
Really would. Sorry.
Everything costs money.
That's what I do, so.
That's what she does.
Yeah, it would cost you that, but it would be worth doing.
Yeah.
It's a permanent improvement.
And it's a one-timer. I have the idea of staff, anything that's continuing isn't a good idea. You don't necessarily have it, the money the following year and the following year and the following year. And you're saddling the municipality with something. It's just, it doesn't have to be, I think maybe at some future board meeting, we just have a conversation around this and see if we have any other ideas. Robin, maybe you ask the staff if they have ideas.
Oh,
Just,
they have
if, don't tell them we want to spend money, but if, you know, you can even do it under the guise of next year's budget, you know, we're trying to come up with things that we could put in, you know, what, and maybe we can get some ideas. Is there anything Jeremy needs for technology? Is there, you know?
Are we a calendar year or?
Yes.
fiscal year? I couldn't remember, thank you.
So those are
Good
my-
problem to have.
Yeah, it is. It's a delightful problem.
That is the funny thing. We have a ton of capital improvements this year that we're working on, and they're all pretty much paid for,
Right.
either by donations or, you know, whatever. So
Wow.
other libraries are struggling. It's
Don't tell
amazing.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. It really is.
Yes, it's a nice problem to have.
Mm-hmm.
And in this day and age, if you thought of this as a nonprofit organization, most of them right now are having really, really tough ends to their 2021 because of investment earnings. It's not something to rely on in this particular operation. So. End of comments. You can go back to your consent agenda.
That's fine. Does anybody else have anything else they want to add at this time?
I move we approve the consent agenda.
That was my next statement, yes, sir.
Second.
Anybody opposed?
You have to vote.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Those in favor.
Oh, all those in favor. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so that's been approved. Okay, any comments from the observers?
No, we have no observers and I've received no communication.
I know.
Susan, the floor is yours.
Okay, I normally talk about how well we're doing, what we're doing, this and that, and I thought I have not talked about something people here might not even know. That if we, the bookseller, have books that are donated and we cannot use them, and they don't need to be recycled, we have a partnership with Better World Books. We give them our extra books to them. And they print up an annual list of what's what. And this is the environmental metrics of what happens with the books when we need them. It is, you know, you might think, do we really care? But really, we do care. It talks about the total number of books in pounds that we pass on. The benefit to the water system is 174,000 gallons. Greenhouse gases, the total number of books that we've given them to be reused or recycled. Because if we can't use it, we move it on to them.
Right.
And they're not really 501c3, but they're pretty doggone close. Most of what they do is charitable. They do make money because they sell books, but they also distribute to, if there were a disaster somewhere where the libraries weren't working or the schools are impoverished and they need books, they will give books to those groups of people. So it's really pretty much all good as far as I'm concerned. But I just, when I was looking, I thought, who even knows about this? But as a community, we are recycling people, and we value that. And we're not recycling people. We are people who recycle.
I know a few that we should be recycling.
Well, and we all might. But we're a community that truly believes in it. We're a municipality that absolutely strives very hard. And I think, well, in our little bit of books coming in, books being sold, books being recycled, and then what else happens to them, it's a fun bunch of statistics. So I thought I'd pass that on.
I think this would make a great little blurb in the magazine, but the piece that need to be added to it is how many books you sold. Is that a number that can at least be approximated? Because it sounds like, okay, you donated, you gave to this organization 21,000 books.
That's a lot of books.
That's a lot of books out of what universe? Do you know what I
Well,
mean?
how
So
about
that
we-
somebody could,
Yeah, so we sell the majority of our books for $2.
take the
We
number
took in this amount of money,
divided by.
divide by
$2.
2, and maybe throw off a few of those, maybe we'll sell them for 6.
And I think just having an article that says that the bookseller to which you donate your books, Mount Lebanon, sold approximately
Right,
X books. In addition, we donated 21,000, which had 15,000 recycled and 6,500 reused. I wouldn't go into the trees and the water, that would confuse people.
right.
But I think that'd be a great little magazine article, great little
Okay.
blurb.
You can tell she's a numbers person, can't you?
Do you have a ballpark percentage? 20% of the books that come to you get passed along to Better World?
I really couldn't tell you that for sure. We have a staff of. They would look at me and think, why are you even asking me that? We push through so many books. But I think we could come up with maybe a reasonable
You can
number.
come
The
up with-
library board is a curious bunch.
But I think it's valid. We were trying to think of, we get a report we give a report to the group and the actual volunteers. How much money the bookseller made, so that they know, I'm sitting here 2 hours, I'm sitting here 6, whatever, and this is how I contribute. So we can track money. Not so much the books. On our online shop, we could track the books. But here, the volume is just, I don't think I could even pick a number. That's how many books there are that come through.
So we shouldn't ask you to break it down by pages then.
No. Our shop, somebody who shops here got in touch with me and she said she wants books that have 481 pages or more in them.
And where in the world did that 481?
Yes, because she does a craft thing with, and 481 works really well. And I but I bought 5 books in the Better World, and instead of giving them to Better World and selling them for $2, I asked her for $1 a book. And but yeah, so people are looking for real specifics, but no, I couldn't get to the page number if I had to. Yeah. Make an article. Okay, into that too. And that's, unless anybody wants to know anything else that goes on out there.
Bookseller hours?
Oh, my goodness, thank you, yes. Starting on the Monday after the daylight savings time weekend, we are going to be open until 8, so we're adding one more shift.
Mhm.
Long enough that most anybody could drive at that time. And we've put the outside end at October 31st. But that's not definite. We're gonna see how the people who actually volunteer. I know everybody wants to be open, and that's why we're doing it, but we want to make sure we have people who will actually easily come from the 6 to 8. And so we're not scrambling. And it'll be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday till 8, because the library closes at 5, Friday and Saturday. We're not on Sunday. And anything else that I have forgotten? Okay, thank you all.
So comments from our commission liaison to our library board?
Thank you. So, one, petitions. What petition season is that there are 3 petition seats up, and there are 6 school board seats. So you may very well find a person knocking at your door if you're a registered Republican or a registered Democrat, and they're asking you to sign a petition so they can be put on the primary ballot. You're not obligated to vote for the person when you sign the petition, but it would be appreciated if you would sign petitions, because it takes a long time to do that. I want to remind everybody again, it's Mertz's Medical Rescue Team South's drive to get as many members as possible. You can sign up online. I can't even tell you how simple it is because I did it. I mean, I went in and it took me 5 minutes. It was just simple. It's www.mrtsa.com, MRTSA.com. February 28th is the last day to submit your credentials if you'd like to be on another board, because you're all such stellar volunteers. Perhaps you'd like to consider volunteering for another board as well. Board terms will only be a year, anything you sign up for, because then we are collapsing the boards into 5 bigger boards, you know, that cover more areas. So take a look at mountlebanon.org. Under trending, you'll see, you know, give us your volunteer time if you're at all interested. EV charging stations are now live in Mount Lebanon. The South Garage just got one on the 2nd floor. Overlook lot on Beverly has a couple, and the Academy a lot up on Washington Road, well, off Washington Road, but on Academy also has several. So if you happen to be driving an electric car, in both of the lots, when you pay for your parking, there's a fee for charging that goes into that. Very nominal. In the South Garage, however, your charging is free the first hour, and then it's $1 an hour after that to charge. So yeah, it's nominal, but you know, if you're interested, use it. We're also starting to look at a new proposed sidewalk ordinance. Last year, we did a complete streets policy, which is, in essence, it says that streets are not just for cars, they're part of the public realm and the public space. So that includes the sidewalks, the right-of-ways, streets, what would be the best thing to do with those. And as part of that, we're looking at a new sidewalk ordinance because we have a number of people on certain streets. There are like 3 major streets in Mount Lebanon, I think, one being Woodland Drive, where it would be smart to put in a sidewalk because they're walking routes to school. And they're very heavily traveled, and they're very heavily traveled with fast cars. So we're really trying to take a serious look at where that would best be. And as part of Complete Streets, we started, well, Andrew Flynn, I'm going to give credit where credit's due, started a South Hills mobility group. And it's really Dormont, Mount Lebanon, Castle Shannon, Bethel Park, that have come together to start talking about the common problems of people coming through our community from Peters or wherever to go downtown, and all they want to do is go through as quickly as they can. So how can we protect our citizens, make it a walkable community so that you're safe? And that's what we're think tanking on, as they say. There you have it. That's it. Any questions?
Just out of curiosity, which commissioners / wards are finding their terms up this year?
1, 3, and 5. So mine is up because I'm filling an assigned seat and I'm running again. Andrew Flynn is Ward 5. He's running again. Mindy Rainey is not running again. Jeff Siegler is the only person I know of that's a candidate for that seat. That doesn't mean there's not more. I just know him. He's endorsed by the Democratic Party, so that's why I would know who he is. Anything else? No? Guys are easy.
Okay, so moving on to our director's report.
Does that mean you're skipping the president's report?
I was just gonna talk about our governance committee later
Okay,
on,
well,
so
okay,
then
that's
yes,
fine.
I'm gonna skip the presidents because I don't have anything, I don't know what Evan's been working on.
Okay, first, I would like to thank Marcia and remind the rest of you, if you haven't already, to fill out your statement of financial interest. What?
She's not last. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
Yeah, so just, you can either turn it into me or just send it or drop it off directly at 710 Washington Road, because that's where it ends up ultimately anyway. And I think the end of April. You have until the end of April. It doesn't really take that long. It just takes a couple
Mine's
minutes.
done. That's
Check,
it.
no, check the notes. I don't.
You don't have to worry about me.
Let's see. A few fun things going on. The Peak Diorama contest will be back at the end of March. So keep an eye out for that. I think
Love it.
they'll be able to start dropping off on March 20th. And there's an adult division too. So if you are a peak artist, then feel free. You may not be eligible for prizes, but I just like to look at things. Tonight at 7 o'clock, we're missing actually a really neat program tonight. Eric has put together a Mother Language Day event, and it is a poetry reading with 4 poets reading in Bengali, Arabic, Portuguese, and Spanish.
Wow.
Yeah, so if we don't take too long with this, we might be able to put our heads in at the end. The Adult Winter Reading Challenge runs through March 20th, so you still have time to sign up for that if you haven't already. And this Thursday at 7 p.m. they're having a tea/book gathering, so you can come to room A and drink tea out of fancy cups and eat treats and talk about books. As for me, I've been working on the state report and the annual report, and working with Allison to finish up our audit. We have a couple things that we still need to get to them to finish that up. So we're working on that. And then I asked Jeremy to send me a capital improvements update because we are working on so many different things that I've talked about to you in the past. So you'll all have noticed the upper entrance. We now have our book drop outside upstairs. It's already being used a lot, so that's good. The teen area is a mess right now. We've got all the books taken off the shelves because we are getting new wooden end caps and tops, and we're getting new signage as well for that area just to finish off. There's some very plain unfinished black shelves back there, so now it'll match the rest of the library. Our water fountains were supposed to have been completed last Thursday. They're not in the wall yet, but I'm hoping by next week they will be finished. Right outside on this wall behind Mary, the carpenter has started to put up all of the awards and recognition of donations that have been sitting in my office for years and years. So I still have a stack, but we're getting there as far as getting those things out of my office and somewhere where other people can read them. We still don't have our solar energy
Dashboard up.
dashboard. Yeah, it's supposed to be happening soon. We're expecting it any time. We're really not involved in the process exactly. I haven't seen anybody from the solar group for ages, so I'm not sure what's going on with that. We are meeting to talk to him about educational opportunities. In the next month, couple weeks from now, we're going to be meeting with him. But hopefully that will happen very soon. I'm not sure what the delay is there. Also, the new furniture, which we purchased last fall, we're still waiting on that. They've given Jeremy an estimate of February 26th through March 10th. So that should be coming again next week, hopefully. The outdoor holds pickup lockers, we're just waiting for spring so that they can pour concrete and that sort of thing. So that should be done hopefully in April. The way this weather is going, it might be even sooner.
Actually, won't pour before March 15th. That's the PennDOT date.
Good to know.
Yeah.
They're working on access controls, these key fobs. We're fitting more of the doors in the library with those. So the study rooms upstairs, we'll all get them soon. That'll just be easier for the staff rather than having to try to find a lock and all that kind of thing, or find a key. And this downstairs book drop is pretty rough looking and kind of wonky. So we'll be replacing that this summer. We're working on signage in the stacks, just to make things neat and easier to find. We will be working on David's Rose Garden this summer. And then in the fall, of course, we'll be getting our new materials handler conveyor belt in the circulation office upstairs. So when you said we need to spend money on capital improvements, I was like, well, we're doing as much as we can at the moment, but
I didn't say we had to spend it this year. We just
Right.
have a plan.
no, I think it's
Yeah,
great.
plan.
I think it's great. So yeah, that's where we're at with that, but mostly it's, just chugging along and getting all the reports and things in for end of year 22 and looking forward to this year.
Cool.
Anybody have anything else to add? Thank you. So moving on, committee reports. The governance committee, which is myself, Bob, Eve, and Robin, met on February 9th. We were working on the SMART goals that we had established on figuring out which policies we would be looking at, and the continuation of updating them because they had not been updated for a number of years. So we have 3 that should be very quick to be updated and should be ready for a vote in May. They are the meeting room policy, which they started to work on last year. Sharon and MA were working on that last year. The public notice board policy needs to be updated because I don't have the list in front of me as to when it was last updated. And then lastly, the prioritizing of the operating room hours, that's my life. The operating hours for the library is the 3rd policy that we will be updating, because again, some things have changed since it was last
It's just
updated.
like the holidays that we recognize are different.
So those 3 should be ready for a presentation to the board in May, and then we will be voting on them in July. And then the other 2 that we feel need some prioritizing are patron behavior and also unattended child. Neither of those have been updated recently, and with the, of course, constant influx of children coming into the library, we feel that the staff could use a little more guidance and
Something more than the sign that you see in stores, unattended children will be sold.
yeah, or giving a puppy or something along those lines. Yes. Yes.
Actually, we're recycling.
There you go.
Yes, recycling them.
I feel like it was a sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
Logan's Run. Okay, anyway, so those are the 5. It seems ambitious to do 5, but as I said, a couple of these are just really quick ones. So we should have the first 3 ready for presentation again to the board in May with a vote in July. We're hoping to have the other 2 for May, but we may not meet that goal. So
The reason she's saying May is, if you'll remember, we had our schedule that was our SMART goal for the board last year, to create a schedule of policy revision. And on our schedule, May and September are the months that we would present policies to the board. And then they would be voted on the following meeting.
right, and since we don't meet in June.
It basically gives non-governments committee members a month to look over and make sure.
Mhm, right.
Yes.
So, and this is just a question about the makeup of the governance committee. Do you get staff input on these policies, or how does that?
Yes, so the staff will rewrite them and then present them to us to kind of look at, and then we kind of read them and determine, looking at the original, what the new language is, how it's going to change. Robin.
Right,
Yeah.
it's,
Just making sure it's like a feedback.
Yes, so then if we have changes, it could be something simple that's just a grammatical change, or it could be something, well, maybe we need to think about this a little more, then we'll pass it back.
right, just having somebody take another look at it, think about legal ramifications and that kind of thing. But it's very hard for the board themselves to write the policy from scratch, because the staff members are the ones that are actually performing the operations. So we bring in the relevant staff members. So Sharon Bruni for the meeting room policy, Jeremy for the internet use policy, that kind of thing.
We can certainly give input, but some of these things, the shorter ones are what, a half page?
Right, some of them are just a couple paragraphs.
Yeah,
And then
it's
like
Not always.
the collection development policy was what, like 11 pages before we
That
amended
was.
it. So it just really depends.
I remember seeing that happen.
Yes.
And then if we find that we, as the board, not the library, have questions, refer it back to legal with the
Yes.
town to make sure that if there's any concerns.
I
somebody else
think
can add.
we put into the schedule that we were gonna run everything by Phil Weiss
Mhm.
before the board voted on it.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
We all get a say, but it's the staff that really needs to be.
So that's, we met our SMART goal, and then is now the time to talk about Bob? Okay.
Yes.
So we also met and we kind of were talking about the fact that Evan will be stepping down and Eve will be stepping down. Marcia, you had indicated you would like to remain as treasurer. So we, I would like to stay with the governance board. So the way we were gonna check into the bylaws, if the president is able to meet with the governance committee or not, we weren't
There's
sure.
nothing that I saw in the bylaws that says it can't
Yeah,
happen.
it should be fun.
I think we just did that.
Yeah.
I don't know where, to get the vice president.
Something to do.
Yeah.
So Bob has graciously agreed to 1 year as president, and then he would see if after that year he's.
Reevaluate after that.
Exactly. So,
I have one more year left on my first term.
yes.
so.
So that leaves a secretary position available to either Anthony or Monica at this point, if either of you are interested. But we didn't want to just say, oh, we think you should do it. We wanted you all to have some time to think
You
about it.
can fight with the owl over here.
Yes.
And there is time to think about it because
Yeah.
we don't have to formally present the slate until March. And then we're supposed to vote according to the bylaws at our April meeting.
What would the term be?
1 year.
It can be 1 year,
Could be 1 year.
It would be 1 year beginning when? In
April.
April 1st.
April 1st of 2023.
Correct.
Yes.
I am currently in a PhD program and going through candidacy. And it is really for me, just another year of extreme work. Anthony has already done his PhD.
I was about to say, having gone through the hell of completing a doctorate, I would be more than happy to make sure that Monica has one more thing to do by nominating her. No, yeah, if you want me to take it on, I will happily do so. All kidding aside, having gone through that process, the last year in some ways of a doctoral program is both the most exciting and the most, what the hell have I gotten myself into? So let's make Monica's life a little bit easier. So this may be the first time that nominating yourself is considered the noble thing to do, but you know.
We've made it easy because it's recorded and you can go back and access the recording. You don't have to take copious notes and then.
That's right. It
mess
does help a
something.
lot.
And I feel for you both because I'm married to a PhD and I remember his doctoral health, so.
No, again, I don't know if there has to be like a formal nomination or whatever, but you know, under the circumstances, I'd be happy to do it, but or normal circumstances, I'd be happy to do it, but certainly recognizing Monica's professional position, I can step up and happily do so.
Well, fantastic. So again, we're not voting on that tonight.
No, we're
Just
not even
there.
next month.
Nope.
Okay.
We will just formally present the slate of officers at the March meeting and then in the April meeting vote according to our bylaws.
Yes.
Is this why I'm gonna be president? Because I only have a bachelor's degree.
There's some
I
pretty
can
wealthy
learn-
men in the world
You're
that
the
don't have
president
any
because you know the most
degrees,
famous
so,
people.
you know.
Bob, I can loan you my master's. I'm not using it at the moment.
I'm not losing what I have. It's fine.
Well, mine's for library science, so.
Is it really? Isn't that funny?
Yes. Okay.
She was the library director before she became.
Yeah, anybody else have anything to add, Eve or Bob, from our meeting that you wanna? that I-
Summed it up very well.
Lovely. Okay, moving on then. So our fundraising committee, Anthony, you have anything to say? Did you have?
Yeah, I always have something to say, whether it's relevant is you know, anybody's guess. Some really good news about the garden tour. We have 5 homes and the temple at the corner of Bower Hill and is that it's technically Sylvandale on my side of the street. I forget what Concordia, I think is the other one on the other side of the street. But we've got 6 gardens confirmed for the garden tour. We of course are hoping to get another I don't want to call it a personal home, but another home so that we would have 6. But I think the happiest person in Mount Lebanon the last week has been Marina, now that she knows she's got the full slate of gardens prepared. Garden tour is
Sorry, if I
June.
can interrupt you, Anthony.
Yeah,
She,
please.
she got a response to the email e-blast she sent out about gardens needed. So there is a garden on Elleton Drive that is possibly our 6th private garden.
Excellent.
She just told me that today. So yeah, we're looking really strong compared to from our meeting this last week. Things have
We
really
were a little bit nervous that night. But June 25th is the garden tour. And I'll be putting out the call for volunteers owning or honoring tradition, putting that out on the first day of spring, which feels like we're already like deep into spring with the February we've had. But otherwise, good news on that front. Tickets, and Robin, correct me if I got these numbers flip-flopped. $20 advance, 25 day of, is that correct?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Yep. So yeah, be $20 for advance, $25 day of. And again, presuming that this 6th home comes through, we'll have then 6 homes and the temple on Bower Hill as our 7th site as well. So going to be a fun year. Robin, anything else that's relevant to add at this point to that? I don't know if I've left out anything that you think should be tacked on.
I think we're good as far as garden tour goes. Marina will be handing out the packets to sell ads and things like she normally does. At some point, we'll need help putting up posters and that kind of thing. Susan, did you want to mention anything what you and Linda were talking about the spring plant sale or anything like that?
I can for sure. Vendors have still been an issue. The Janoskis, who have just amazing plants and flowers, are not doing any fundraising things at all. They're going to do Easter lilies, if anybody wants that. We did not want to do Easter lilies. And they're also offering poinsettias in the fall. We're holding back from jumping on that because that's typically a Rotary event. So we're going to wait and see what Rotary is able to do and then make up our minds on that. We are going to be selling, we're using Barch Farms again, and they're just really cooperative. They deliver, they do everything we need them to do. So we are doing that. And that's the plant sale is
May
the
13th.
day before Mother's Day. And then it's annuals primarily.
We'll have pre-orders.
Yeah, we'll be doing pre-orders, and then we also order about 90 to 100 extra plants to have on available for that day. Bidwell, we've always done business with them. They're not going to be doing that sort of thing this year either. They're kind of changing their approach to all the things they do. So if you didn't get hydrangeas in the past, we are not going to have them this year, I don't think, unless we're able to find them elsewhere. And it's just how it was before. You pay, you come and get them, or you don't pre-buy them, and then we sit outside and sell them all day. And usually there's other things, birdhouses, houseplants, community people. I think Barbara Logan gave us, golly, lots and
Yes.
lots of plants.
Both Barbara's.
70 some, and then Barbara Lowenstein also gave us about 70 some plants. So there's, the nice thing about that is, and the nice thing about the whole thing is it's all local. So you know, if you buy it, it will grow in your yard. It's not anything from some other place.
Right. And if you are available that day to volunteer, we really could use the help, especially in the morning.
Yeah.
Just to set up tents and tables and, you know, pull plants out of the meeting room and put them out for sale and that kind of thing.
10 until 2, correct?
Yes.
10 until 2. Okay.
Correct.
What time do you need volunteers?
Usually about 9 o'clock.
Okay.
May 13th.
It's the Saturday before Mother's Day.
That's all I have.
Thank you, thank you.
Anything else?
I think that's all for the fundraising.
Okay.
Mhm.
We're on to old business. Is there anything we've covered? The treasurer's report? Anything else that's considered old business that needs to be discussed? No. How about new business? Anything else on new business? We might get out early here. Okay.
Wait.
I'm sorry.
I have one item. I learned at the EIN board meeting this month that the EIN has changed their web hosting services and is now able to host web services for all libraries. They're currently doing about 33, I believe, or 22, it's a double number, whichever, of the 45 county libraries. I guess my question, Robin, is, I don't know what percentage or how expensive our web hosting is. I know we're not part of EIN at present. Is that something we could consider moving over? Because apparently they've transitioned 4 or 5 libraries already, and it's just literally, it just changes servers. Is that something we could consider doing and saving some money out of our budget? I don't know what our contract is with that, with our current provider.
I would have to talk to Jeremy to get the details. I know we just upgraded our website, and I think we did it right before the EI network was really doing that web hosting.
Theirs just came online like within the last few weeks.
Right, so, we can sit down with Jeremy, and he would be able to answer all of your questions
Okay.
very easily.
Okay, I don't even know how much it's costing us to,
Right,
but apparently EIN is not charging any of their the libraries, they're just doing it.
I think one of the concerns he had is that our webpage is pretty complex at this point, and
I don't know what their capabilities are.
yeah, so, he's also on the INAC,
Yeah.
the EI Network Council.
Right,
So, he's very involved and aware of everything that's going on with them. He hasn't mentioned switching over to me, but like I said, I'm happy for us to sit down and, or he can even come to a board meeting if you want to talk.
or he can tell you and you can tell us. I just like to know if it's something that's possible in the future, or, because if we can save some money through something that's nothing but technology, that would be
Right.
great. If there's some reason we can't, that's fine
Do you
too.
know who our current hosting provider is?
Let's see, what bills do I pay?
I don't know who EIN is, I don't remember.
It's right there, I just
Don't
don't,
worry about it.
yeah.
I would be curious to see which libraries are using it. Are they the smaller ones
I don't
where
know.
or is it something like
I-
Northland that might be a little more
I have no
comparable?
idea.
Sure.
I will have a report for the March board meeting.
That's fine.
I would assume you'd be more concerned about security than the complexity of the website.
I don't know. EIN is
Yeah, you wouldn't,
probably one of the most security conscious organizations I've ever been.
yeah, we
part
wouldn't
of.
worry about that part.
I have no issues with whatever they're doing. They've taken care of that. They should have taken care of that side, knowing the way they operate.
They run the catalog if you're not familiar with what they do. So they're all behind the scenes.
They oversee
with it.
all of our computer
Yeah,
leases,
Computers,
the
all the leases, all the software.
iOS,
Mhm.
So we already use them for a lot of stuff.
for
Oh,
all of our
The whole
computers. So
catalog, the whole reserve
everything.
system, everything comes
So
through
just
EIN.
for ease of use, it might make more sense.
I don't know. I just was wondering if we could investigate it.
Yeah, I'll ask Jeremy
And see.
to.
If he's more comfortable coming, have him come. If not,
Yeah.
you can report back. It just sounded like it might have potential.
Sure.
Jeremy thinks everything over incredibly carefully.
I know he does.
And he works very hard to save money wherever he can, so I think the reason is just the complexity of our website and it allows us to, more freedom, I think, to do things the way we want to do them. And, like a year or two ago, we went through the entire site to make sure it was ADA compatible and that kind of thing. I'm not sure how far along the EI network is.
Well, I don't know that they're talking about doing anything but being the host, the
Right,
provider.
right,
Yeah.
I don't think it would at all change the types of things you're talking about.
No, can't imagine.
They're not talking about content. They're talking about simply being the host. The server that the darn thing lives on, as I understand it.
I will have an answer for you by next month.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, so we're on to our advocacy moment. Anthony, I'm putting you on the spot first.
Gee, thanks a lot. No, this is usually where we talk about the books we've read and the things that have made an impression on us, right?
Yes, what you've watched or what you have read.
What I've read. I finished a book that I first mentioned last month, which is titled Agent Sonya, Sonya. Fascinating book about an otherwise nondescript woman who looked like she'd be your next door neighbor, who was one of the most important spies for the Soviet Union during the World War II era. And I am now starting a book that my wife has absolutely insisted I read. And after 25 and a half years of marriage, I do a good thing of listening. So I am going to start reading a book called Outsmart Your Brain: Why Learning is Hard and How You Can Make It Easy. So,
God,
Wow.
That in itself sounds difficult.
That sounds
well,
good.
you've met me, so you know that can be difficult. So that's where I am.
Robin, you're next.
Okay, I'm looking up the titles because I never remember them. I actually have good ones this time though.
Wow.
I'm listening to the audiobook. I also have the paperback in case I don't finish the audiobook before it runs out, but it's called Midnight Riot, and it's the first book in the Rivers of London series. And it's kind of like an alternate universe sort of thing. This young beat cop in London witnesses, or he goes onto the scene of a gruesome murder and he talks to a witness, and then he finds out later that the witness is dead. It's actually a ghost. So then he finds, because he talks to one of the other higher ups about his witness and they find out that he can see ghosts, he's then put into this different section of the London police force that deals with the supernatural and paranormal. I'm about halfway through the book, and the series of murders he's investigating appear to be following the story of the Punch and Judy.
Yeah, Punch and Judy.
The puppet show,
Punch and
where they
Judy,
throw
yeah.
the baby down the stairs and the dog bites the nose and all that kind of thing. So they've just figured that out. And meanwhile, he's learning magic and he's kind of in love with his girl from the police academy that he was going through. And it's pretty wild so far, but the audiobook is really well done. The guy that reads it, he does the accents and everything just really, really well. So I'm enjoying it a lot. And I just watched the most bizarre movie over the weekend called The Banshees of Inisherin.
It's good.
It's, I mean, I guess
HBO Max.
it's Colin Farrell, and it's about these guys that live on this tiny island on the coast of Ireland in like 1923 or something. It's not long after the war. And it's just this quiet humdrum place where nothing ever happens. And this one guy just stops talking to his friend. He doesn't want to be friends with him anymore because he's dull. And that guy just cannot let the friendship go because it's like rocking his whole world. And things just escalate and escalate between them because he won't let it go. And it's just, I don't want to give anything away. It sounds like a movie about nothing, and it kind of is, but it's
Compelling nonetheless.
it's intense and funny and weird, and there's a donkey, and it's awesome. I don't know. You should watch it.
It's from Neil McDonald, who's very famous. I think he's English actually, although everybody mistakes him for being Irish, but he's a playwright. His films kind of feel like plays.
Yeah, oh, very much so, yes. Well, and I think this was the first in like a trilogy of plays that he wrote, or
Oh, maybe.
part of a trilogy of plays. I don't know,
I don't know if it's based on
but it's definitely worth a watch.
I haven't read much of anything. New York Times all the time. Lots and lots of reports from the township. I started a book called The Heiress of Pittsburgh 2 nights ago and got through 1 page before it fell on my face. So I can't teach you about it all. I'll try it again. And my husband and I have been watching Frankie Drake on Amazon Prime, and it's just this kind of cute, fun, very upbeat detective show that doesn't take a lot of brain power at 9 o'clock at night when I'm tired. So there you have it. You're next.
I've actually done very little reading since our last meeting. I read 3 books on sitting in airports a couple of weeks ago, but they were Andrew McCall Smith type books. I'm currently reading one called the Patron Saint of Second Chances, which is very much in the style of Alexander McCall Smith. It is an absolute delight. It's a debut novel of the author whose name will be forgotten by me, something Simon. It's about a little tiny village in Italy, and the mayor, if you want to call him that, discovers that the village has a problem and he has to raise money, and how he goes about it is really, really quite amusing. It's delightful. The only thing I've watched of note is something that none of you will have ever heard of, which is Clarkson Farm 2. Jeremy, it's on Amazon. Jeremy Clarkson, Clarkson's Farm 1 is obviously the first 8 episodes. Jeremy Clarkson was one of the original hosts of the show Top Gear, which was one of my all-time favorite shows. It's a show about cars. I know nothing about cars, and I absolutely loved it simply because these guys did the most amazing things with cars I've ever seen, like try and drive from London to Edinburgh on 1 tank of gas. With their gas tank welded shut, so they couldn't get to it if they ran out. Okay. Little things like that. But Jeremy Clarkson, one of the hosts, has become a gentleman farmer in England and near the Cotswolds. And this is the 2nd season of him running this farm, and he knows nothing about farming. His tractor is a Lamborghini tractor because he knew the name Lamborghini. In fact, that it didn't fit in his garage had nothing to do with it. And on this series of episodes, he decides to go into cows. And it's, I mean, rolling on the floor type of television watching. So that's about all I've watched. So I haven't done anything terribly intelligent for a month.
I am taking a British science fiction class. So I've been reading a lot of J.G. Ballard, which is very surreal approach to science fiction. John Wyndham, Ian M. Banks, I enjoyed that. So my palate cleanser after all that was a novel by Bessie Head. She's a South African Botswana author, and that was fantastic. What was it called? I'll think what it's called. But then for myself, I read a lot of children's literature. I started out as a children's librarian years and years ago. So I read Watership Down and The Wizard of Oz, both of which I had never read before, and they were both violent.
Not what you expected.
Not what you expected.
Well, far more violent than we really currently write children's literature to be. Yeah, especially The Wizard of Oz. I was shocked by just how many casual deaths.
Gratuitous violence.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever thought of Watership Down as a children's book.
Yeah, no,
No.
it's not cozy.
Yeah.
It's not cozy, but it was originally marketed as a children's book.
Well, I remember they made a cartoon of it
Oh, yeah.
when I was a child that I
that's
remember
terrible.
watching,
Oh, yeah.
going,
It's
oh my God,
terrifying.
yeah, absolutely.
But it was like a cartoon.
Yes.
version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it, late 70s, early 80s?
Yeah, it was late 70s, I think.
It's that,
So at the same time, they came out with The Hobbit in an animated version, so,
yeah,
They-
it's kind of that kind of like the rats, the Mrs. Frisbee and the Rats of Nim, that kind of thing. Hi,
Want to come and watch?
library board meeting?
Yes.
Okay, we're almost done, but you're welcome to come on in.
And there are cookies.
There's
Yeah,
cookies.
have a cookie, bud.
They're good.
Okay, is, I'm talking about violence, and you really associate violence with ballet. We have a very, I'm talking about this, the most impressive thing I've watched in the past couple of years, was the recent ballet performance with Dracula. Have you ever heard of it?
Oh, Dracula.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Dracula. My daughter's she's been in a pre-professional ballet program, so of all these programs to choose, right, we have these season tickets. The first one she picked up was Dracula, and then she herself, she's in a gap year, she's traveling, so it comes to my mom and I had to go there, and it was horrible, this one, but it's a different story, but I usually try to avoid any violence as possible, reading or watching, but this one is just made it so beautiful and so, it's so, amazingly, how is it just, mind-boggling, and it's can be shock your mind. It's not your standard ballet at all. But meanwhile, it's just great. That kind of a spooky, but also you feel comfortable because you feel safe because you know you're in a safe environment, and also the skills of the performers are just incredible. And I guess we lived in East Europe for a while, and I remember those the folk dances. Oh, these are dancers. I was so proud of them. They could do even better, those skills. And then it's a tremendous effort. It's a completely different choreography, all these, and the sets was just incredible. It's a lot of screaming. So my mom actually was so scared. Even the dancers was screaming. That was there. And then when we actually left in the second intermission, total second, 3 parts, so we skipped the last part, but I regret it so much, because for the longest time, I was always thinking of it, and I'm so glad, because for our city, I think it's a wonderful thing for our ballet troupe to explore, and to bring such a very unusual, like out of the norm, and it's a great, audience, actually, most of them are senior citizens. It was very well received, and I feel very hopeful for this, for our city, and for the new path they're searching. I'm very, very happy to see that, very excited about this. It's like a New York kind of thing. It's all like some other much bigger place, so you're thinking more of a modern approach. But that happens in our city. I'm very proud.
I'm gonna shake it up and not talk about anything that I'd rather watch. And instead, I'm going to tell you all about how I never, ever thought I would be a vinyl guy. It seems useless and kind of elitist and too expensive, and yet I bought my wife a record player for Christmas because she wanted one. And we got some speakers and set up a little corner in my living room. Cut to 3 months later, now our normal Saturdays are walking down to Vinyl Remains and me picking out Warren Zevon albums to buy. And after our governance committee meeting a couple weeks ago, I find myself in the library's record section, spending 15 minutes flipping through. And I think it's because I'm a collector at heart, and also I'm a sucker for packaging. But it's like suddenly become a big thing in my house. So
You're supposed to get this out of your system in college.
I
It's cheap.
know, maybe it's a midlife crisis thing, you can say. But it's all about what Springsteen albums are on sale at Amazon this week. And so that's what I've been doing.
Funny.
So tell me, where's a good place to sell vinyl? Who?
Sell, I don't know. Like Vinyl Remains has a nice collection, and I know they have new stuff they're buying all the time, but the question is, are they giving anywhere remotely close to
If
fair
you're ever-
value? I
I'd
don't
be
know.
curious,
I
'cause
don't.
I've got 3 boxes I need to get rid
Yeah,
of.
when I went to Ohio State, there were
I can
vinyl
tell
record
you-
shops every 5 feet, and now.
Now, yeah,
I would say Half Price Book sells vinyl, but I doubt they would pay very much.
I
for
can
it.
tell you, I don't know if it's the same, but I was a big comic book collector in my teens and 20s, and I saved everything and bagged and boarded it. And starting maybe 10 years ago, I looked to move it, get rid of it, and could not get even remotely anything
I
close
just
to that.
wanna put them somewhere that they find a good home.
I think it sounds like a
It's-
great library
I-
I
fundraiser.
was gonna say the friends.
We sell them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, then I'll just
We've
donate
only
it to you.
started recently, because for the longest time, it was not popular. And then,
Cause this
Bob
is all
Haggerty
stuff
had
from
said
this is
he
all
would
stuff
do it.
from the sixties.
yeah, it would sell.
I-
If you're looking to donate, we would be
Fine,
happy to
I'll-
take it.
Yeah, like,
But if you're looking to anything else, I would take it down the street.
so my comics, I actually have an eBay store and I put a little bit on at a time and I sell and I make good money, but it's a lot of work. Yeah, you don't want to do that. So,
Okay, thank you. I'll,
Oh, thank you, because we would be really happy to have it. And the nice thing about our piece of it is we're all busy doing a lot of other things, and Bob Haggerty had said, talk to me about it, and I said, we can't do that, we just can't. And then he came back and he said, oh, I think you might want to revisit that. I'll do it completely for you.
Wow.
And so
Wow.
we said, great. So people donate them here. People here, put them in the back, send him an email, he comes and gets them, he prices them out, he researches, he does everything. And if it's really, really valuable, he will take it down the street and sell it for whatever the value is. Things that are really valuable, not that anybody would ever bother them, but would rather, you know, if it's worth a lot of money, would rather just go get that money rather than let it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, makes sense.
So,
Okay.
thank you. Okay, well, when the winter reading challenge started, I jumped right on that because I like to support that. And I think, well, it's just about circulation, so I immediately got 2 books. 3 weeks went by, the library sent me a notice and said, we've renewed it. I have not read. I don't know what that's about. The books I picked up
I
was
do too.
Killers of the Flower Moon. And I'm sure it's gonna be a great book, and it's about the Osage tribes in Oklahoma, and murders. And I think the beginning of the FBI came through that, so I know it's a great book. Sometimes I think I should probably come to the library and sit in a chair and read, because then I have no other disruptions. And the other one was,
Relax.
just a mystery about Lilydale, and it sounded like it would be a mindless, easy, fun read. Haven't started that yet, so I don't know. I'm still a weekend PBS watcher. All Creatures Great and Small was on, and it's just great. It's at the very beginning of World War II, so you can see how that has impacted everybody. This past weekend, it showed every single character having a hard moment of deciding, am I the best person I can be? Could I be a better person? Could I be kinder? Could I be nicer to my wretched brother? You know, all those kinds of things. Vienna Blood is scary, but great. Everybody in that is great. Same with Broadchurch, frightening, and Astrid, which is, but they're all just great. So that's kind of what I'm doing instead of Broadchurch. What do you think?
I love.
I do too. I love it.
I
But
love it.
each thing you think, oh my gosh, these are real true things that could happen to real true people. And yeah, but I just love the way it's filmed. I like the actors. I just like everything about it. So I hope it never ends.
I'm gonna say I'm continuing the slump of not reading. So I started watching Will Trent.
Oh, I love Will Trent.
I do too, so
It's so
I'm waiting for the books to be available, so I'm waiting to read the series now, but I enjoy it very much. It's,
Mindless but fun.
yes, and I appreciate the fact that his southern accent is not overdone. Being from Virginia, I cannot stand when people try to affect a southern accent and it's just brutal, so he does a good one. Anyway, I think that is it. So do we have a motion to adjourn?
Sure.
Anybody second? Everybody in favor?
Yeah.
Okay, we are adjourned.
Not bad.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Susan.
Have a good night, guys. Take care.